In the last video, we explored the gruesome tragedy at the Whaley House, and today, I'm going to take you to another location in the US, a place that both Life and Time magazines have called the most haunted house in America. Nestled quietly in the Old Town neighborhood of San Diego, California, is the Whaley House Museum. From the outside, it has the classic beauty of Greek Revival architecture and stands as the oldest brick structure in Southern California. This house was once the heart of the community. A general store, San Diego's second county courthouse, and the city's first commercial theater. It has witnessed more history than any other building in the city. But behind that historic facade is a long story filled with tragedy, death, and rumors of spirits that have never moved on. Before we begin, please like and subscribe to the channel and make sure you're in a comfortable spot. Maybe dim the lights a bit to add to the suspense, because the story of the Whaley House will take us deep into the terrifying connection between the living and the dead. The haunting story of the Whaley House doesn't begin with its construction, but with the very land it sits on. This land has a darker past than many realize. In the mid-19th century, this was a public execution ground where gallows were erected to carry out death sentences. It even sits on part of an old cemetery where hundreds of people were buried, including native Kumeyaay people who had perished from disease and conflict. To build a home on such ground is, in many cultures, already considered a bad omen. And then, in 1852, an event occurred that would forever cast a curse upon this land. A tall horse thief named James Robinson, nicknamed Yankee Jim, was convicted and sentenced to death by hanging right here on this spot. The execution was carried out in a horrific manner. Due to Yankee Jim's considerable height, the executioners miscalculated. When the cart he was standing on was pulled away, his feet could still touch the ground. This turned his death into a long and agonizing torture. Newspapers of the time described the gruesome scene as Yankee Jim struggled, trying to keep his feet on the cart to save his life, his body swinging back and forth like a pendulum until he slowly succumbed to strangulation. Many rumors claimed it took over an hour for Yankee Jim to actually die. And who was one of the people standing in the crowd witnessing this entire horrific spectacle? None other than Thomas Whaley, a successful businessman from New York. What's remarkable is that instead of being horrified, Thomas Whaley seemed completely unfazed. A few years later, he purchased that very piece of land and, in 1857, completed the construction of a grand two-story brick house. A home he proudly proclaimed would be the finest, most comfortable and convenient place in town or within 150 miles of here. I always wonder, what would make an intelligent, successful man like Thomas Whaley make such a risky decision? Was it the arrogance of a man who believed in science and dismissed superstition? Or did he simply see a prime piece of real estate and not care about its past? Whatever the reason, this decision seems to have sealed the tragic fate of his family and turned their dream home into a prison for tormented souls. Soon after the Whaley family moved in, strange phenomena began to occur. Thomas Whaley himself told a local newspaper that they often heard the heavy pounding footsteps of a large man walking upstairs and in the hallways, even when no one was there. He believed it was the spirit of Yankee Jim, the man who had died so violently on this spot, still lingering, unable to move on. The curse had begun. If it were only the ghost of Yankee Jim, the story wouldn't be so complex. But it seems the curse of the land attached itself to the Whaley family, turning the house into a stage for one tragedy after another. The first tragedy struck just a year after they moved in. Their 18-month-old son, Thomas Jr., passed away in the house from scarlet fever. Before the grief of losing their child could fade, Thomas's downtown store was destroyed in a fire, pushing the family into financial hardship. Overwhelmed by sorrow and exhaustion, the Whaley family decided to leave the house, moving to San Francisco for 10 years. In 1868, they returned to San Diego in their old home. Thomas renovated the house and turned it into a bustling center, renting out parts of it as a courthouse and a theater. Life seemed to have stabilized, but the specter of tragedy had not yet released its grip on them. Perhaps the greatest sorrow was the death of their daughter, Violet. In 1882, Violet married a man she loved dearly, but their happiness was short-lived. During their honeymoon, her husband was revealed to be a con man who abandoned her after confessing he had only married her for her money. Heartbroken and socially stigmatized, Violet fell into a deep depression. 3 years later, in 1885, at the age of 22, Violet used her father's gun to take her own life right inside the house. She left behind a note with lines from a poem. Mad from life's history, swift to death's mystery, glad to be hurled anywhere out of this world. It didn't stop there. Another Whaley daughter mysteriously died at the age of 11 after ingesting poison. A series of deaths and misfortunes befell the Whaley family, all taking place within or closely connected to this house. Eventually, Thomas and his wife Anna took their last breaths here as well. Their remaining children also passed away one by one, and the last to live in the house was Corinne, who died in 1953. With such a history filled with death and sorrow, it's no surprise that the Whaley house is believed to be home to many spirits. Visitors and museum staff over the years have reported countless supernatural phenomena. It seems the entire Whaley family never truly left their home. Thomas Whaley is considered the most active ghost. Many people insist they have smelled the sweet scent of Cuban cigar smoke, his favorite kind, wafting through the air. Sometimes so strong they have to leave the room. The apparition of a man in a long frock coat and a top hat, believed to be Thomas, is frequently seen at the top of the stairs leading to the main bedroom. Sometimes his haunting laughter echoes through the house. Anna Whaley is often seen in the downstairs rooms or walking in her beloved garden. One visitor recounted seeing a woman in a long dress picking flowers in the garden. But when he approached, the figure vanished into thin air. Her presence is often accompanied by the faint scent of perfume and a feeling of warmth and comfort. The tragic spirit of Violet is believed to still linger in her old bedroom. Visitors often feel a deep, overwhelming sadness upon entering the room. The sounds of children crying, laughing, and running are often heard, attributed to little Tommy and the red-headed daughter who died from poisoning. The spirit of the little girl is said to be very playful, often appearing clearly to other children visiting the house. The ghost of Yankee Jim is still present with his heavy footsteps on the second floor. But the most frightening phenomena associated with him are the ninth step and the archway. Many visitors report that when they pass through the archway between the parlor and the study, believed to be the exact location of the gallows, they suddenly feel a heavy pressure on their chest, and their throats feel tight, making it hard to breathe, as if they are reliving Yankee Jim's agonizing death by strangulation. The house is also known for countless other strange occurrences. Lights turn on and off by themselves, and windows and doors open and slam shut. The sound of a piano echoes from downstairs when no one is there. Orbs of light hover in the air, and mysterious misty figures appear in visitors' photographs. In 1964, television star Regis Philbin stayed the night and personally witnessed something pale white like an apparition moving between the rooms. So what is really happening inside the Whaley house? Is this a gateway between two worlds where spirits are trapped by their own tragedies? Or is it simply an old house with creaks and stories that have been embellished over the generations? The coincidence of so many tragedies occurring in one place with such a dark history is too significant to ignore. It doesn't feel like a series of isolated events, but a prolonged chain of misfortune, as if the land itself is truly cursed. The spirits here, from Yankee Jim to the entire Whaley family, don't seem to be malevolent entities, but rather tormented souls, bound to the place that witnessed their greatest suffering. Today, the Whaley House still welcomes thousands of visitors each year. It is both a historical landmark and a destination for those curious about the spiritual world. People can take daytime tours or join nighttime ghost hunts with specialized equipment. What do you think? Are these stories real? And if you had the chance, would you dare to step through the doors of the Whaley House to find the answer for yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the most haunted house in America. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next explorations into the unknown.